What's going on YouTube? Welcome to Westys Angling. You're joining me at Copple Mill Lodge today and we're going to be doing some cage feeder fishing for silvers. Now it was my intention to fish 2 rods today. I was going to mess about on the cage feeder fishing for anything that swims, mostly silvers, and I was going to have a second rod out down the margin to the bushes down that right hand side over there on a solid PVA bag, fishing carp methods with maybe like a piece of pepperami or something like that, targeting the chunks. But I don't know if you can tell from the video, but it is windy, it is blustery, it's really high winds today, so I don't think I'm going to bother with the second rod. I'm just going to concentrate on getting the silvers, do something different on the channel. So that's my plan for today. I'm going to talk you through some of the baits that we're using. I'm still on my artificial bait ban, so we're going to be fishing natural baits today. So I've got some maggots and casters with me. Well, I say maggots and casters, my maggots have started turning into casters, so I'm fishing maggots and casters on the cage feeder, and I was going to fish pepperami on the carp rod, but obviously we're not doing that anymore. There's some really nice silvers to target in Copple Mill. There's some good bream, there's some good roach, there's eels. What else is there? Some good perch to target, so plenty to go at. Hopefully we get something nice, but I'm just going to spend a few hours just fishing for anything that swims. So it's going to be a nice chilled enjoyable session on the cage feeder, and we'll see what we catch, folks. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's get this bait mixed up before I get absolutely blown away. Oh my god, it's going to be a tough one today. Let's get into it, folks. Woo-wee! Look at that wind. Right, let's get our bait mixed up. Let's put the feeder rod down for now. I just need to get a hook length on that and it's good to go. Very simple setup, folks. We've just got a running bead there with the cage feeder clipped on. It's just a normal cage feeder, if you can see that, 20 gram, nice and light, and that's running up and down my main line there, and that goes to a core and bolt bead so I can quickly and easily change hook lengths. If you're wondering why I'm not using a normal quick change bead, I'm sorry about the wind, and I'm sorry about the traffic, and I'm sorry about the trains. Quite a noisy fishery here at Copple Mill. It's very industrial around here, so if you hear stuff like that, that's why. So as I was saying before I was interrupted, you might be wondering why I'm using an elongated bolt bead there, which is more kitted out for like a method feeder, to go inside a method feeder. But I like it because if you can see that, when your running bead hits that, it kicks your hook length away from the feeder by about 2-3 centimeters, whereas if it was a normal running bead, it wouldn't kick it out half as far. So it just makes it a little bit more tangle free. Right, let's get this bait mixed up before I get absolutely blown away. We're only doing a few hours today, folks. It's going to be a nice short session, but hopefully we manage to get a few on the bank. So what ground bait am I going to be using today? Well, I've got some of this and it needs using up, so we're going to be using this today. We're not going to be using my baits, and this is a green fish meal ground bait and it's a sweet flavour, so we're going to put that in today. I'm not going to mix all that up, I don't really need to, I don't think. I've put a little bit of water in here and it looks like it's just about right. That I'll add a splash more, literally a tiny bit. I'm not going to put it through a riddle. It's broken down quite fine, that mixes well, that stuff. And there we go. So that's nice and fluffy, and then when you squeeze it together, it stays together and you can break it up back into the particles. I'm going to have green hands though today. Right, so that's that. Near enough done. And then I'm going to put some of our maggots, like I said, that have started turning into casters, in the fridge. And I'm just going to put a handful of live maggots in this mix here, and we're going to be fishing maggots on the hook. Very simple, easy way of fishing. Let's put some more in, let's not be shy with them. Get some of them casters in and all. Size 14 hook today. It's about as small as you'll see me using here, a size 14 on Westys Angling. So I don't really like these feeder hooks either. I might put one of my other ones on. I don't like how it closes the gap. I like a slightly outturned eye when I'm feeder fishing, but that's just personal preference. I've got trees above me here, so I'm going to have to be careful how and where I'm casting. I'm going to fish towards this right hand banking. I'm going to start off on double maggot, a red and a white. Then we're going to fill our cage feeder up. I'm going to put quite a bit of ground bait in here to start off with. Try and get some of them maggots in and all. And I'm going to cast out a couple of times in quick succession to the same type of area. I'm not going to clip up. Ooh, that wind. I'm going to make it a difficulty casting, but we'll manage. There we go, right next to them reeds. And what I'll do is, if I don't get anything there a little bit closer into the banking, I'll work my way left until I find out what sort of depths the fish are in. Feeder rod set up nicely there. Want a little bit of a bend to the feeder. Just had a bit of a twitch then, that's the first one. This camera setup here should give you a little bit of a better view today. I'm hoping that you can still see the tip of my feeder rod from there. If I start missing bites, I am going to tie up a different hook length with a different type of hook on. Let's get some bait out. So it's a little bit weedy there. Let's come a little bit to our left. Work round a bit. I do hope you can hear me over the wind, but I won't know that until I get home and I do the editing. On the next cast, I'm going to tie up a new hook length with a Corum all-rounder on size 12. And I bet you we get a fish using that hook length. I'm just not confident with these hooks. They close the gap between the hook and the line too much. Like I said, when I'm feeder fishing, I like a slightly outturned eye. I think they catch in the fish's mouth so much better than the straight eye hooks. Right, new hook length going on. With a size 12 Corum all-rounder there. I'm going to put a few more maggots on. I'm going to go with 4 maggots on this. I like loading as many maggots as I can on my hook. I think it really works, that. Usually seems to get the bigger fish as well. Right. Ever so slightly longer hook length as well. Just going further out from that line. So that's 3 changes, that. So we've moved further around to the left. We've put a hook length on that's a few inches longer, and we've got a bigger, different pattern of hook on. Let's see if that makes a difference. Oh, about to pour a brew. Have we got something on? I missed it. I missed it going to pour a brew. But you see how them few changes worked. That's the best bite I've had so far, that. Why is it always when you pour in a brew? Always. But those changes worked, folks, and that's what it's all about. I'm going to tinker until you get it right, or you're confident. There's a twitch. Yeah. Yeah, we're in. We're in. That pattern of hooks, absolutely epic. They pretty much nail themselves, you know what I mean? There we go, nailed in the bottom of the mouth. Happy days. Number one. Have a quick celebratory brew after my first fish. Cheers. Alright, let's get some more. Second fish on, what have we got? Very, very, very small skimmer. Couple of twitches then. Now, the reason that it's harder to catch carp on the cage feeder like this is because carp can very easily eject a longer hook length, which is why the method feeder is so effective for carp, because it's got a shorter hook length. Obviously carp come over the top of the feed and they suck and blow, and what happens is they get nailed by the weight of the feeder, whereas they can suck and blow on these hook lengths all day long, and most of the time they'll just spit it back out. Whereas bream and silvers are a little bit more tentative in feeding, so they won't suck and blow as much. They'll tend to commit to small particles of bait. That's the theory anyway. Obviously sometimes the carp will suck this into its mouth, and this is a nice pattern of hook, so if that does happen, there's every chance it can be nailed. But sometimes carp will suck and blow the bait out, and half the time you won't even know that you've been done. You won't even get any indication on the tip. Some of the more observant among you might be wondering why I'm wearing shorts when it's blowing an absolute gale and raining. Well, it's actually still quite mild. I'll wear shorts all the way up to November. I just prefer wearing shorts. I don't know what it is about it, but I feel more comfortable in them. There's a small bream, that, folks. It's come off. Once you're set up and fishing and you've got the silvers in your swim, it is a really enjoyable way of fishing this. I know it might not appeal to some of you carp anglers, but it's sometimes nice to just come and do something a little bit different other than targeting carp all the time. Now don't get me wrong, in the back of my mind I am hoping that a 20-pound carp comes and snaffles these maggots up. That is in the back of my mind, but it's nice to just come out and target something a little bit different. It's quick, wasn't it? It's like another small one. Borderline swinger. Few changes and we're bagging up now. I love it when a plan comes together. Let's keep them maggots on and get it back out. You see how we're starting to build our swim up now as well. Try and get it back in the same sort of spot. Doesn't matter too much, as long as it's within sort of like a door sized area. Drop back, we've got a fish on. Something might have taken that on the drop. Something did take that on the drop. It's got my maggots. And you'll find that even on the cage feeder, sometimes you will get bites on the drop. Once you've got them competing, There'll be a lot of fish up in the water here. Obviously folks, I'm not going to film every single fish today, otherwise the video would be about 6 hours long. But I wanted you to get an idea for the techniques, how to alter your approach slightly when you cage feeder fishing like this. And I hope you enjoy this more chilled out style of filming and fishing for today. And if you are enjoying it, all you need to do to support the channel is hit that subscribe button. Any questions about anything I've done today, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. Bloody, this wind is atrocious. I always try and get back to questions in the comments where I can, and it also helps if you like the video. And if you really want to support me, give us a follow on the WestysAngling Instagram, Facebook page, TikTok, whatever other social media you're on. Right, let's get some more silvers on the bank. That one nailed itself. Didn't even strike into that. Oh, it's come off. Well, we've got them competing now at least. That's the main battle over and done with. Should be smooth sailing now for the rest of the session. It's when you've got that better bait built up that you're more likely to get carp. You see how you need to get yourself set up in a way that it's very easy to rebait and keep going. Sometimes you've got to let it get past all those smaller fish on the way down. And the bigger fish will be at the bottom, the bigger bream, the bigger roach and that. So for anybody wondering about my setup today, I'm using my Corum S23 feeder chur, and I've got a Corum bait bucket there. That's an Anychur range bait bucket. I've got a Corum XS feeder arm. This is a Corum Anychur double rear rest, and then I'm using my Guru Engage Pro feeder rod paired with a Daiwa Regal 3000 bait runner reel. Now I need the bait runner because I'm filming, but these are turning out to be an absolutely cracking reel. I'm really impressed with them so far. Oh, we've got a fish on there folks, just had a couple of tugs. But that's the little setup for today. I've heard so many carp crashing in this left hand corner down here. I feel like I'd be stupid to not give that a go this afternoon. Let's get a few more silvers and then I might try that corner. Need the net for this one. I might try that corner and then I can put pepper army on. I've got some pepper army with me. That might bag us a carp. I'd have to shorten this hook length down a bit. I could put a heavier cage feeder on, something like a 30-40 gram cage feeder. So there's a little bit more resistance there to set a hook. And I could shorten the hook length to something like 6 or 8 inch. That way it's still not tangling with the feeder, but the carp's got less of a hook length to be able to eject. If we do move to that left hand corner, we'll go and check it out together in a second and see what it looks like. They're the little changes that we'd make to swap this into a carp targeting rig. But I did think the silvers would be a better stamp, to be quite honest with you, but they've not been very good. But it could be because I'm fishing with maggots that. Oh, it's thrown the hook. Right, let's go and have a nosy down here and see what's going on. Is there a peg there? Oh, wait, there's a peg here. I think I'd fish just out from this peg here. Right, let's give it a go. Well, I've just put some ground bait and maggots in just out from that tree. I'm hoping that'll get them grubbing about. I'm trying to be quiet, I don't want to make too much noise in that swim. I need to be stealthy, don't want to spook them off. The fish here will be very, very wary. Right, some pepper arm here. This is a great carp bait. It's very durable, very oily. I'm just going to cut a few thin segments off here to use. I'm going to swap this cage feeder for one of these Corum leads where you can put a little bit of ground bait in them. Need to shorten that hook length to about 8-inch. Look folks, this might not work, but with all the crashing in this margin, I've got to try it. The carp fisherman in me is winning out today. And I'm just going to take these couple of pieces and just create some smaller chunks there and put them where I'm going to be fishing. So hopefully the carp will move between them and hoover mine up. Right, but might not work, might not catch anything at all. But I've got to try it. This pepperami will be better her rigged. See what happens. Just had a few twitches on the pepperami. It's a big piece of pepperami that as well. What am I into here? Oh my god! It's a sturgeon. Oh. I'm glad I'm fishing heavy. Oh, it's walking up now. Well, if we don't get it out of these weeds, at least we know what it is. Thank God I'm fishing heavy, folks. Got 10-pound main line on. I might have to scoop this up with a net from the weeds there. God, it's digging. Let's get it. Oh, I've got it, folks. I can't get it in my net. Oh, he's got it. Well, that's put on a few pound, I think, since I last caught it. Oh my God, what are the chances? A little WestysAngling move to target some carp, and I've nailed that perfectly as well. Right in the corner of the mouth. It's covered in line, as you'd expect from a sturgeon, so we're going to remove all that line from it and clean it up. Come fishing for silvers, and I'm catching sturgeon. Oh wow. It's absolutely covered in line. Mine's hooked perfectly, it's not even tangled my line. We've got quite a bony mouth. There we go. Right, that's the hook out the way. Let's unwrap it of all this line. What a beautiful fish. Right, I'm going to stick this in the water a second. I'm going to get my carp cur. I'm going to spray its wounds down because it's got a couple. You see, they break people's sturgeon, they fight really hard, and like I said, I'm on 10-pound main line and a 10-pound hook length, so I didn't have to worry. I knew I'd be able to get it out of them weeds. Right folks, I've managed to prop my camera up there on the rod rest, so we'll be able to get a few still shots with this. Just had it rested in the water. It's got a couple of wounds, so I'm just going to put some carp cur on those. And then we'll get a picture with it. I'm going to get it back in the water in a second because they don't do well outside of water. But This is what's known as a Siberian sturgeon, and this is what they actually get the eggs from to make caviar. This type of sturgeon. Look at how beautiful that creature is, folks. Prehistoric. It's a good size, this one. It's probably 9 or 10 pound. They're very bony, heavy fish, so they go longer rather than obviously fatter. And they're part of the cartilaginous fish family, which is like sharks and rays. It's that kind of lineage. But what a beauty. Just resting it in the net until it's ready to swim back. Should be able to swim a little bit better without all that line around it. You'll know when they want to go, folks. There we go. Happy days. Can you believe it? Do you know what's ever so slightly annoying about catching that fish though? I could have done with catching that in 2 weeks time when I do my Northwest rod race, because I need a sturgeon on that, and I think my chances of catching it 3 out of 4 times fishing here are a little bit slim. You see, I could have saved this video and used it on the rod race and lied to you all, but I'm not like that. I want to do it properly. But yeah, let's see what else we can catch today. Oh God, what are the chances, folks? Did you see it tail walk though when I hooked into it? I hope I got that on the camera. Was not expecting that. Thought I might have been into a carp. So I literally just hooked that through the skin there. Oh, that wind. Now don't get me wrong, folks, sturgeon aren't really hard to catch by any stretch of the imagination. What makes it hard is how few there are in a massive lake like this. That's what makes that impressive. Or just plain lucky. Wow, this wind's picking up. I'm going to swap onto a cage feeder and try a little bit further out. This is a 30 gram, so it's a little bit heavier than that last one, which was only 20 gram. Tell you what, folks, I'm going to have bloody windburn tonight, fishing right into it. I keep getting little knocks on the pepper army. What do we think? Should I give corn a go? That might weed out some of these smaller silvers. Oh, we've got a fish on. Might have fouled up that one. Just put him in her jail. Sorry, pal. You were swimming around there like a deadbait, I think, for a while, and I didn't know about it. You could have been snaffled by a pike, so I think yourself lucky. Let's open some corn. Using all the baits today. I usually just pick a couple and stick to them, but I think that sturgeon's got me excited that my luck bite me in today, and I might get a big carp or something. So this ground bait's getting a bit dry as well, so we'll just add this corn juice. We'll put a few pieces of corn in and all. Comes out for silvers with his cage feeder and catches a sturgeon. Can bet your life if I'd have come out for sturgeon I wouldn't have caught one though. That's the way it goes, isn't it? And yeah, I could have lied, folks. I could have used that footage on my rod race next week. The lad's integrity is everything. Better brain. Nice colour to it, that one. Well, folks, I'm not sure if you can hear a word I'm saying, but I've had about 8 of those skimmers now, all that same sort of size, on the corn. They're absolutely loving it. Not mega quick bites, but I think It's just weeding out some of those smaller skimmers that we were catching in the other corner. Trying to put my hand over the GoPro and block some of the wind a bit while I'm talking. Again, they're all this kind of size. Nice fish to be catching though. Oh my god, that one's absolutely engulfed it. I'm gonna disgorge you for that one. Sorted. That got hit on the drop again then. The bleeding carp are never going to get to it. If you wanted to target the carp here, you'd have to use really big hook baits. Get past all them skimmers. Well, that is certainly not a carp. That is a bream. Bugger in hell. I mean, yeah, another silver. Silver session's going great. Big up the silvers. Right, I think we put pepperami back on, shall we? Because the silvers seem to struggle to take that. We might be waiting a bit longer for a bite though, but if we do get a bite, it'll be something decent. Well, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stick it out in this wind because I'm going to be red raw. Tried zipping my jacket up over my face, but it's quite a cold wind as well. Since I moved down this side, I've not seen any carp crashing. They're not stupid, are they? And I tried to be as quiet as possible, but I don't know, maybe that fight with the sturgeon sort of spooked them off. Caused a lot of commotion down here, didn't we? I think I'll swap back onto corn. I'll call it a day for the carp, and we'll see if we can get a few more of these silvers. In tow so far, I've probably had about 25 of those skimmers, all about the same kind of stamp. Some a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller. No roach today, which I'm surprised about, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? Whatever's feeding. I'm sure the fella down the top end's catching roach, so maybe all the roach are shoaled up down that side. And I've got all the slimy ass skimmers in my peg. I tell you what, I'm really enjoying this session so far. I'm so glad that I come out for a few hours today, honestly. I don't know about you guys, but since COVID, I feel like I've become almost institutionalized. And I have to force myself to leave the house sometimes. Leave a comment in the comment section, folks. Do any of you feel the same way? Do you have to really force yourself to go out and do things? That's why I'm thankful that I've got this YouTube channel sometimes, because it forces me to come out here and get some filming done. And I hope the videos motivate you guys as well to get outside and do stuff like this as much as you can. Travel light, take what you need, and don't overthink it. Well folks, I'm going to have a few more casts and then I'm going to call it a day and get packed up. Really short session today, this one. And I just want to say to everybody out there that's got busy lives, that's got families, that's got commitments at work, you can get a fishing session in a few hours. I've literally only been here 3 hours today, and I've had a good bag of silvers. I've moved peg once. You really can get a good session in a very short amount of time. So if you only have a few hours on your hands, maybe of an evening, maybe you only have a Saturday morning, don't let it stop you going fishing. Get out there in nature, get a few fish on the bank, and just have a few hours to yourself. I'm sure your partner won't mind. I'm sure your kids can miss you for a couple of hours. Get out there, treat yourself, and go on the bank and get a few fish landed. And if they say you can't, guys, just say Westy says I can, and there you go, my word's final. But like I said, I'm going to have a few more casts. I'm going to get a couple more silvers on, and I'm going to get packed up. All in all today, I've ended up with about 30 bream and one cracking sturgeon, which has absolutely made my week. I love catching sturgeon, probably my favourite fish. So yeah, enjoyable session. So glad I came out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next Westys Angling.